The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
And a pleasant good afternoon to one and all in the region, across the nation, around the world. We welcome you all to the Brian Snow Show, the second episode thereof. I got Chris Dietz joining me here in just a little bit. Make sure I put these on so I can see what the hell I'm doing. And we're going to have it's going to be a brief show, but it's going to be a fun one. As I mentioned this morning, it is a Football Friday, and we're going to talk some football. Who is your defensive player of the year? We had this talk in the chat this morning during the morning show, and the two candidates for defensive player of the year are my pick, Nick Bosa, and the universe's pick, Micah Parsons. Now, am I going to down Micah Parsons and say he is not all of that? Hell no. Micah Parsons is awesome. All right? I love watching him play. Don't get it twisted. I love watching him play. I just think that the impact of Nick Bosa has meant more, but we're going to see how all that voting plays out. And, well, he was ready. I'll get Dietz on here in just a moment. But you can make an argument, and I agree with Dietz. I was just messing with him this morning. You can make an argument for either player, either way. Either way, you're going to have a stud representing your defensive player of the year. And here's Chris Dietz right now. What up, Dietz?
Hey, what's going on, Snowman?
How are you, my friend? Good to have you.
I'm doing all right.
Let's continue discussion that we had this morning. And of course, I was teasing the daylights out of you this morning. Either way, with Bosa or Parsons, you're going to have a stud as defensive player of the year. Micah Parsons can run all over the place. He can run all over the place and play any position and play the best positions on defense. And yes, he has 2.5 less sacks than Nick Bosa, but the impact is just the same with Parsons as well as Bosa.
Well, it's going to come down to the same exact logic that made Caleb Williams win the Heisman Trophy.
Right.
It's not about the numbers at the end of the day. It's not going to be about what happens down the stretch here at the end. What's going to happen is it's going to be what happens Sunday against the Eagles. Mm-hmm. If the Cowboys win and Micah Parsons has a big day, well, everybody's going to see that.
Yeah.
What it comes down to is Micah Parsons had a huge day week 2 against Cincinnati on NBC Sunday Night Football.
Yes, he did. And
from that moment on, Micah Parsons was leader in the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
It was like when Tiger Woods used to play at the Masters.
Right.
And he would play, round 2 and would absolutely destroy it. Mm-hmm. And from that moment on, everybody was playing catch up. And that's how it is here. Everybody saw that Sunday night game against the Bengals. Mm-hmm. And they said, Micah Parsons is defensive player of the year. So it didn't matter what anybody else did the rest of the season.
Right.
They were playing catch up to Micah Parsons because everybody saw it. Mm-hmm. Now, what Nick Bosa has done the last 8 weeks of the season, yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
But again, he was playing in most people's mind. I mean, go look at those games and look where they were played and where they were televised.
True.
How many people were watching How many people were watching intently San Francisco play Arizona?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, nobody. Nobody was watching that game, so nobody cared.
Except for one game, and except for two games. One was Monday night against the Cardinals in Mexico City, and the other was a game of the week in which the 49ers absolutely obliterated the Buccaneers. It's the same, like you said, it's the same with the Heisman Trophy vote. Everybody's looking at Micah Parsons. Not hardly anyone's looking at Nick Bosa. Not to say Nick Bosa is not a stud as a defender, but it's where all the eyes are. And for most of the season, since week 2, in that game against Cincinnati, that was on CBS, by the way, it was Micah Parsons and everyone else.
I mean, the last game, I have a different perspective because of where I watch the games. I watch the games at a bar down the street it's a Cowboys bar. I'll say that. I mean, our head bartender is a Cowboys fan, so therefore it is a Cowboys bar. But the rest, if you were to ask what our second team is the 49ers. So as long as the Cowboys aren't playing at the same time, then we have the 49ers game on the big screen.
Right.
So we watch every 49ers game.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you were to ask me what's the last 49ers game that the real media that media got into, that they really broke down, what's the last one they did? It would be the Kansas City Chiefs game where the 49ers got blown out.
Yeah, we got obliterated by the Chiefs, 44-23.
And other than that, what else has anyone been talking about the 49ers? Has anyone been talking about the 49ers since they started this run? Well, the only thing I heard them talk about was, can Jimmy G do it? Then he goes down. Then it's, can Brock Purdy do it? That's all they're talking about with the 49ers. They're not even talking about. And that's what's going to hurt Nick Bosa.
Well, like I said, besides us here on the network, no one else besides you and I and the few that come on with us really break down the team aspect of teams that we watch. And you're right. In the end, that's going to hurt Nick Bosa's chances of getting Defensive Player of the Year. But at this point in time, I'm inclined to think, even though they're going to make a push for it, given the way that they're playing right now and winning 7 in a row, I don't think they really care.
I don't think they care. I don't think no one should care. I mean, no one in their right mind should care. I mean, look at the Eagles. They don't care. They don't care that Jalen Hurts is the MVP. He's not playing this week because they know they need him. They need him when it counts.
Yes.
They don't care about Jalen Hurts winning the MVP. I mean, this weekend we'll talk about it when we break down the games. But this weekend we'll tell you if Jalen Hurts is the MVP or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the Eagles get pummeled and can't move the ball on offense, well, what are people going to look at? They're going to go, "Oh, Jalen Hurts wasn't there."
Right.
However, if they do, if they put up 40 points on the Cowboys with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, people are going to go, "Well, how important is Jalen Hurts if he's out and they're still putting up 40 points?" So either way, by sitting today, he's either going to win or lose the MVP based on what happens in this game in the game on Saturday.
Yeah, so true. So two awards hang in the balance this weekend, depending on how the performances go. We're going to keep this abbreviated, and we're going to break down our games right now. Let's get to it. Here's the first one: the Detroit Lions and the Carolina Panthers. That's 1 p.m. Saturday, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Carolina is getting 3.5 at home. Who's this game more important for? Is this more important for Detroit, or is it more important for Carolina?
It's more important for the Detroit Lions. As far as their playoff push, it's way more important for Detroit because they have a way tougher hill to climb.
Yeah.
And if they lose, they don't have a heads up. They don't have a heads up match. Carolina has a heads up matchup with Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Still to come. And Carolina has the heads up already in their pocket. They have one already in their pocket. So they can recover. They can recover even if they lose the game. Detroit, however, does not have that luxury.
Right.
So it's more important for Detroit to take care of this game, and I can't do it. I can't say I count on Detroit because I don't count on the Lions.
Me neither.
And being on the road, even though Carolina seems to play better on the road than they do at home.
Yeah.
You have Jay Spivey on every week.
Yep.
And he kills Carolina. Carolina, Carolina people don't even care about Carolina.
They don't. It's what does Jay say? It's a wine and cheese crowd. They are not into the Carolina Panthers. Even when they were making their runs to the Super Bowl, they had more of an interest in Carolina with Jake Delhomme at quarterback than they did with Cam Newton at quarterback.
Yeah, you've lived there. You've lived there.
Yes,
I've never been to North Carolina, but nobody care. They don't care about that.
Nope.
What they care about Duke, North Carolina right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what they care about in Carolina. They don't even care that their team could make the playoffs, despite their horrible record and getting rid of half their team.
And they're not excited. They're not excited about the prospect of them, even with a losing record, backing their way into the playoffs. They're not concerned about how important this game is for Carolina. And I agree with you. It's more important for Detroit because a big tiebreaker is already eliminated, and that's the head-to-head match. Detroit does not have that in their back pocket. Carolina does, because they destroyed Tampa Bay earlier in the year, and they also beat New Orleans. So Carolina can bounce back from this, but I think it's more important for Carolina, even though they're a disjointed team in a disjointed place with a disjointed fan base, I think it's more important for Carolina just for their confidence, just to get them rolling. Now, will they get rolling? We don't know. We don't know how this game is going to turn out. But I would just love to see Detroit win out and find their way into the playoffs. What would be the easiest scenario for the Detroit Lions to get into the postseason?
The easiest way is to win these games that you're supposed to. I don't know Detroit's schedule off the top of my head. I know they played Green Bay. I think they played Green Bay the last week of the season.
They get Green Bay the last game. They get Green Bay the last game of the year. Game of the year.
Obviously, they have Carolina here. I don't know who do they play next week. Next week, I think they play the Jets.
Detroit's already played. Detroit's already played the Jets.
Oh, that's it.
Detroit's already played, and they beat them last week.
They play somebody. Let me see who they play.
The Chicago Bears.
I'm too early to view. Do they play the Bears next week?
Chicago Bears, New Year's Day.
I mean,
New Year's Day they play the Chicago Bears.
You can't ask for two. You can't ask for two better games than Carolina and Chicago.
You really can't. And
to make the playoffs. I mean,
that's leading into the final game of the year at Lambeau Field in Green Bay.
Yeah, you don't want that to be in the back. If you're the Detroit Lions, you do not want that to be your. Right. All right, we have to win. We have to win. Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers, and you have Jared Goff. And I don't care what the stats say this year. I don't care what it says. Mm-hmm. You don't want Aaron Rodgers to control your playoffs.
True.
You don't want that. Plus, it's at Lambeau.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go into that. You want to go into that game with, hey, if we win, we're riding high into the playoffs, but we're already in. You don't want that game to be, if we lose, we're out.
Victor Locke in the chat already lit up. The doors of Vahalia have opened and Dietz has arrived. Ryan McCoffey it's all about the triad in college basketball. That's the truth. I lived in the triad. And I also lived in the triangle, which of course the triangle area, Durham, Chapel Hill, and Raleigh, and then the triad, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point. Lived in both areas. And Victor Lai echoes it's about Chapel Hill and Durham in North Carolina. It's the truth. My buddy Joshua Jackson, big time Jaguars fan. Love the new setup. Thank you. Wise is with us. What's up, my brothers? What's up to you? Hope you're doing okay with the winter cold snap going on, because it's definitely cold. And that's being nice about it. Seattle and Kansas City is our next game we're looking at. Kansas City getting 10 or laying 10 at home against the Seattle Seahawks. That's at Arrowhead Stadium, 1 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Does Kansas City put Seattle out of their misery?
I think Seattle's going to have trouble here. Now, the good news for Seattle is Kenneth Walker will play.
Mm-hmm. But is it too little, too late?
I don't think so. For Seattle, that's why this game's so important for Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about Detroit. Well, this is important for Seattle because Seattle, if Detroit can falter, then they can get Seattle can possibly jump the Lions.
Yes,
and get in a good spot. This is just a bad spot for them. Spot for them.
Who's it more important for? Is it more important for Seattle or is it more important for Kansas City?
This is more important for Kansas City. And
the reason for that?
People can say, "Oh, Kansas City needs home field."
Okay.
They need home field. They need home field in the They need home field in the playoffs. If you're asking somebody to go to Buffalo and win in January, you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot out of a team that Kansas City team that cannot run the football.
Right.
They cannot run
the football consistently since Patrick Mahomes arrived. Now, this is nothing against Patrick Mahomes, but look at them. They haven't been able to run the football consistently since Patrick Mahomes arrived.
No, and Wise just posted it. It's 13 degrees right now in New York.
Mm-hmm.
That's in New York. That's in close to the city. In Buffalo, in January, it's going to be negative degree. Whether you're passing the ball, it's good. Whether it's snowing or not doesn't matter.
No,
I mean anybody who's tried to catch a ball in negative degree weather, that ball is rock solid,
and it's going to hurt.
and you got Pat Mahomes throwing the ball at least 60 miles an hour. It hurts to catch that. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you're doing. It's hard to throw the football in that kind of weather.
Well, I love what Victor said. It's -2 here. Can we borrow a couple of degrees? Well, Victor, I'm in Southern Indiana, and we want to borrow a couple of degrees. Here's the strange part. I read the weather for here in the area where I'm in. It's supposed to be back up to 51 by Thursday. By Thursday of next week, it's supposed to be up to 51 degrees. I can't believe that.
Look who you're asking. I'm in New England, where if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes.
Just wait 5 minutes. Absolutely. And shucks, that's been true everywhere I've lived. Ryan McCarthy said it's 41 where I live, and I see all the way in Western New York, it's 5 degrees. It's coming. Yep. We got smacked last night. This is how cold it was. I took my dog out, or I let my dog out. She went off the porch, took care of business, and came back in within 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And she just looked at me with this, don't make me do that again.
Yeah.
I got up this morning to come in here to do the morning show, and she's following me around. And then I opened the door, and she looked out and went, "What the hell are you doing?"
And went, "Nope, I'm not going
exactly.
out there." I'm not doing that.
She hates rain. Lucy, you've seen Lucy on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy hates rain worse. She hates rain more. You know.
Don't we all lose? I mean, I got a bike to work in this weather, so
ouch.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
It's not that much fun.
No, it's not. It's not. Joshua Jackson says, keep that cold stuff up north. We don't need it down here. I had a fun conversation with Josh one year, and it got as low as 30 degrees. This man called me and he said, "What the hell are you doing sending that cold weather down where I am?"
Hey, you guys can take the cold because it'll at least warm up where you down south. At least when it gets cold, they can at least warm up out of it. For us, it's cold and then the next day it just gets colder.
It just gets colder. You know what's funny? When Jody and I were in North Carolina, one day I had to pick up my daughter from school, picked her up, and it was snowing. It was snowing like crazy. So we hurried, got home, got in the house. The next day it was 61 degrees. And all the snow that we had gotten, and Jody and I looked at each other, and when we said, it's not going to stick. And I said, no, it's not going to stick past today. Next day we wake up, it's gone. Like it was 61 degrees.
The old place I used to work is like 5 towns away. So I used to take the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to you, there were days where I would go through and I would see 5 different seasons in the 5 towns that I went through. I'd be going, all of a sudden I'd look out the window and I'm like, oh man, it's beautiful sunny day out. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the next town, it'd be pouring rain. And I'm like, what?
Yep.
Where did this come from? Get to the next town, it's snowing. And I'm like, well, all right, this is just getting worse. And then get to my stop and it's a bright sunny day out again. And I'm like, wait, what the hell just happened to all that I just drove through? I don't know what's going on. So
when I drove to Charlotte, when I drove from Henderson to Charlotte to cover a Spurs Hornets game at the Spectrum Center, went through the same thing because it wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold when I left Henderson. By the time I got to Charlotte, it was 70 degrees. They were like you said, there were different seasons. The further south I went towards Charlotte, I mean, it snowed a little bit going through Asheville, and come further south, it just kept getting warmer and warmer and warmer, and people were wearing short sleeves, and I'm going, this is weird. Well, but it's like we said, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Let's move on. Let's go to U.S. Bank Stadium, 1 p.m. Saturday. Minnesota laying 4 at home. Giants and Minnesota. Who's this game more important for?
It's more important. Obviously it's more important for the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the Giants need it just to get into the playoffs.
Right.
But it's really more important for Minnesota. Because you've said it. You said it on the morning show. I'm sure you said it on this show. And you said, the last place anybody wants to go is San Francisco, California.
Mm-hmm.
And Minnesota right now holds on to that number 2 spot. But if they fall to 3, and in the second round, they have to go to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. It changes that game. It changes everything about that game.
It does. And the last time Minnesota and Frisco played in the playoffs, which of course 2019, 49ers obliterated them. They absolutely obliterated them to the point where after the first quarter, they did not throw the football. They just ran it down their throat.
But really, I mean, and this game is so much more important to the Giants, I think, because you look at how the Giants have played the last 2. I mean, take out last week.
Yes.
Last week they should have lost.
They should have.
Let's just get that out of the way right now. They should have lost.
They should have lost.
They should have lost last week. If the game was called correctly, they would have lost.
Easy. And whether it would have been in regulation or whether it would have been in I don't think it would have gone to overtime. They'd have lost that in regulation.
And you look at everything that they've gone through before that. I mean, they lost to the Lions, lost to the Cowboys, lost. Then they come back and they tie the Redskins. They tie the Redskins the first time, and then they keep going. You keep going down the list. Well, the only win the Giants have in the last month is last week.
Yes,
and they should have lost
against the Redskins.
So the Giants really need this game because the good thing for the Giants is the Eagles will probably have everything wrapped up by that last game.
Yeah,
so the Eagles might have absolutely nothing to play for, and the Giants will have everything to play for.
Does it look like Minnesota? Does it look like the Vikings are frauds to you, even given their record?
Absolutely, they're fraud. Absolutely, they're frauds.
Thank you.
I mean, They won a game. They won a game because Josh Allen dropped the ball in the end zone.
And that's a game that should have been wrapped up even before getting to that point because Buffalo held a 10-point lead with 10 minutes left.
And then the very next game that they played, the Cowboys beat them 40-3.
40-3.
And then last week it took the biggest comeback in the history. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it's the biggest comeback." No, it wasn't the biggest comeback in the history of the NFL. It was the biggest choke job in the history of the NFL.
And both of them involved Matt Ryan.
The Colts choked that game away.
And like I said, and both of them involved Matt Ryan.
Yes.
What is wrong? What is wrong with that picture? It's time for the Colts to. Is it time for the Colts to draft a quarterback, or do we go with Sam Ehlinger? I mean, what do the Colts do?
It's time for the Colts to develop somebody in their system. You can't keep bringing in people year after year.
Yeah,
you have to eventually get a guy who's your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem is this draft class is not the one to do it.
Can it be Sam Ehlinger? Sam Ehlinger?
I was never impressed with Sam Ehlinger in college, so I would say no. I'd say you have to find somebody who you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they believe in Sam Ehlinger, more power to them. But
right,
but they also, where's Ian Book? I know he was on. They drafted him. Why not put Ian Book in? I mean, a guy who
they didn't want to trust him.
The most winningest guy in quarterback in Notre Dame history.
This is from a school that produced Tony Rice. This is from a school that produced Rick Meyer. This is from a school that produced Joe Montana. And Ian Book is the winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history, and they don't use him.
And I mean, why not? What have you got to lose right now if you're the Colts?
Right.
Find out what these kids can do, and if you can believe in them, because you can't go year to year. You can't keep bringing in guys who are on their last legs.
Yeah, we see what's happened with that the last 3 times. Cincinnati, New England from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Cincinnati laying 3 on the road on a 1 p.m. kickoff in New England. Who's it more important for? Is it more important for the Patriots or more important for the Bengals? I say it's more important for the Bengals. And the reason I think it's more important for the Bengals, you're going to have to travel at some point. You're going to have to travel at some point in the playoffs because Kansas City's playing for home field advantage. It's Buffalo, Kansas City, and Cincinnati all playing for home field advantage. The advantage right now is Buffalo's. It's their home field advantage. It's the home field advantage for Buffalo to lose. But if you're Cincinnati and you're going up against the New England Patriots, a team that is holding on, tying a knot and holding on for dear life to a playoff spot, unlike the Bears of 2010, and yes, Victor, there's a reason I'm bringing up that reference, you want to deliver a knockout punch to a team that could sneak up on you should they get into the playoffs. You want to deliver this knockout punch, and you want to deliver it right now.
Yeah. I mean, Cincinnati's looking at they're looking at the same thing Kansas City's looking at. They just don't want to go. They just don't want to go to Buffalo.
No, they don't.
One thing Cincinnati doesn't care about is Kansas City. Because we've seen it already. We've seen it three times in a calendar year.
Yep.
Cincinnati's handled them each and every time, each in different ways. So
Cincinnati's beating Kansas City.
They have something on Kansas City. Like they have their number apparently.
And 2 of those 3 times came at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yes.
They don't
care about that.
Yep. 2 of those 3. They just care about not wanting to go to Rich Stadium in Buffalo.
Yeah. Now they just don't want to play Buffalo. But that's right now. That's irrelevant for this game. This game is way more important for the New England Patriots.
Does Cincinnati deliver the knockout punch?
Oh, it wouldn't be a knockout. It wouldn't knock the Patriots out of anything. It would put them on the ropes. I mean, speculation because the Patriots have Miami and Buffalo coming up.
Right.
But everything is right there in front of the Patriots. Yeah, the worst thing for the Cincinnati Bengals was whatever Jacoby Myers was trying to do. I'm still trying to figure out what he was trying to do. I mean, I was gonna say this on the morning show when it came out.
Go for it. Go for it.
In the immortal words of Chris Bass, what in the blue hell was he? What in the blue hell was he thinking? I still am trying to figure this out. Like, you're a wide receiver. Why are you trying to throw the ball 50 yards?
And it's a tie game. It's a tie. But here it is again, folks. It's a tie game.
Yeah.
It's a tie. At that
if you
point,
get tackled, so what? The game goes to over. The game goes. If you get tackled, the game goes to overtime. What? I understand Ramondre Stevenson. Like he's in the middle of getting tackled. All right, let me pitch it to Jacoby Myers because if he breaks a tackle, Jacoby Myers can actually score a touchdown.
But then,
why are you trying to throw the ball back to Mac Jones, who couldn't outrun me if he tried? Like Mac Jones, a guy who's had a knee injury already this year. Why are you trying to throw him the ball? He can't throw it again.
No.
So why are you trying to throw it to Mac Jones? And why are you trying to throw it 50 yards across a field that quarterbacks can't even make that? There's some quarterbacks that can't make that throw. What? No. What?
I'll use my.
It was so dumb.
I'll use my own question. What in the Vita blue, yellow-bellied, red-blooded hell was he thinking? And I'm going to play that clip right now, and I want y'all to listen to Bob Sochi, the fabulous voice of the New England Patriots, and his radio partner, and listen to their description.
When the Finns ran the hook and lateral to beat the Patriots several years ago. Now on a 3rd and 10, 3 seconds left. Jones will give it to Stevenson. He started right. He runs it up the middle, hit by Chandler. Jones slips and hit across the 45 with a stiff arm. Off a tackle at the 40. He lost the football. And Jacoby Myers picks it up. He circles back and he throws it across the field toward Mac Jones. It's picked up by Chandler Jones. He breaks away to the 30. He runs to the 20. He runs to the 10. He runs to the end zone. Unreal. Touchdown. Raiders.
Good night. This might be one of the dumbest teams I've ever seen.
And a victory for Las Vegas.
What was he trying to do? What the hell was he trying to do?
I can't explain what. I can't explain what he's trying. You're a wide receiver. You can't make that throw.
You really can't.
I mean,
you're not supposed to make that throw. You have 3 seconds left, and I'll say this again. It's a tie game. You know, at that point, you just get whatever yards you can, and then go flip a coin. Ramondre Stevenson should have never lateraled the ball. Just listen. You react. You react in that situation. But if you're down 3 points or down 8 points, I understand. And set up something, but it's a tie game. It's a tie game. You don't do anything that stupid.
It didn't make a lick of sense. But that was the worst. That's the worst thing Cincinnati could have asked for. Because now you got Bill Belichick on a week where he just gets to absolutely destroy his team and say, "You guys can't play that stupid against." And how many times, how many times have we seen Coach Bill lose back-to-back games? It doesn't happen often.
It does. I say it's going to happen here. I got Cincinnati in that game.
That's why I'm taking New England for desperation and for I still believe in Coach Bill. So
I don't I don't. Yes, desperation matters. Like you said this morning, desperation does matter. This game matters also. Philadelphia, Dallas. I know I got the stadium wrong. It's AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. I apologize for the mistake on the graphic. Dallas laying 4.5 at home. It's a 4:25 kickoff on Christmas Eve. Okay, I only have 2 questions for this game. Number 1, does Philadelphia deliver the knockout blow and keep Dallas on the road for the playoffs? And the second one, will Dallas actually get some sense and run the football on Saturday?
The answer is the same to both those questions. It's no. No to both of them. No to both of them.
Right.
I do think Dallas comes out in this one. I do think they win the game. I do think they win this one just because it's at Dallas and because of the way they played the last time at Philadelphia, and because I'm interested to see which team runs. If Philadelphia can run their offense without Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that as well.
You know, a lot of people have been talking about, oh, Philadelphia's got such a good running game. Well, 75% of your running game has been Jalen Hurts.
Yep. And that's the fatal flaw.
Oh, go ahead.
I said this. You were with me when I said this earlier in the week. If Philadelphia has a fatal flaw, they don't have a bell cow running back. Because 75% of the offense is Jalen Hurts, throwing and running. We can say the same about Josh Allen, say the same about Patrick Mahomes. Jay Spivey said the worst coach position right now is quarterback. And when your quarterback is your team leader in rushing, I'm looking at you, Justin Fields, there's a problem.
The sad thing is they do have a bell cow running back. They just don't use him. Miles Sanders is a great running back.
Then why don't they use him? Then why don't they use him? I say the same.
Again, I have no idea what they're thinking. Like they give him the ball.
I got the same question about David Montgomery of the Chicago Bears. He's a bell cow type running back. Why don't they use him? Why don't they use him?
There's no reason why Miles Sanders shouldn't have the ball in his hand 20 times a game. And he's not carrying, like, he should have the ball in. He should have about 18 carries and about 2 catches on screen passes or on checkdowns. This is a guy. Miles Sanders is a guy who can handle that, and they have 2 other running backs in Atwell and Scott that can fill in admirably. We've seen it happen. So
why don't they use
I don't understand why don't they run the ball? I have no idea, but they're able to mask that because their quarterback can do what Jalen Hurts does.
But see, to me, I guess this is me being old school, and I know folks in the chat are going to agree. To me, that's a fatal flaw. That's a fatal flaw when you have a bell cow type running back and you don't use him. When you don't use him, that is a problem to me. Am I wrong for thinking that?
No, it's always been the problem with what I've seen out of Philadelphia. It's always been the problem. Because we know what they can do. We know AJ Brown is really good. We know Devontae Smith is really good. We know they've got they've got the kid from North Dakota, the tight end.
Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, so we know they've got weapons in the passing game, and we know Miles Sanders is a weapon, but he's not a weapon if you don't give him the ball.
I'll say it again about the Bears, but David Montgomery, he's a bell cow type running back. This is what frustrates me about the Chicago Bears and other teams that have this problem. David Montgomery had a 1,000-yard season 4 years ago. Why don't they give him the ball now? Why don't they give him the ball?
You look at what Chicago is, because they're not. Look at all these offenses. That's the other thing is these offenses, and you talk about it with the Dallas Cowboys. If you're 95% in the shotgun, well, you're handing the ball off 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Right.
So your offense is already in trouble, and your running back's getting the ball standing still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you run I formation under center, your running back's getting the ball maybe 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but he's already going forward.
Thank you. And he's already in motion.
He's already in motion.
He's already in motion.
Much like the Dallas Cowboys on which we talked about Jacoby Myers. Thank you, Jacoby Myers. Thank you for being as stupid as you were, because I was ready to come out and just say, I still don't know which one is stupider. Jacoby Myers trying to throw the ball 50 yards across the field, or the Dallas Cowboys ahead with under 2 minutes to go, and you're in shotgun. You're in shotgun.
They're in the gun.
Handing the ball off to your running back. You have second down. You're second down, and you line up in whatever weird formation they were lining up. They didn't even have a running back. And then you bring Tony Pollard in motion. Everyone in the stadium knew, hey, he's going in motion. They're going to toss it to him.
Yes.
Every single person knew, all right, he's in motion. They're going to run the ball here. And there were 5 Jaguars waiting for him when he got the ball.
5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
What are you doing? And then third down, I get it. It's third and long. All right, you want to pass the ball. Like, if you want, but guess what? There's a minute left. There's a minute 20 left in the game, and the Jaguars have 1 timeout left. Run the ball, make them call a timeout, and guess what? If they throw the ball over the middle, the game's over.
Make them use.
That's it.
They didn't do any of that.
Or if you want to throw the ball, all right. Let's say you don't want to take that you don't want to take option A, which is run the ball. And hey, if we break it for 13 and get a first down, awesome. But let's say, all right, we want to throw the ball and try to get a first down. All right, well, at least play fake. At least fake that you're going to run, so that you can at least hold a safety or a linebacker, so that somebody can be wide open.
Yep.
When you throw the ball. No, let's not do that. Let's roll the quarterback out, so that, hey, if the quarterback, if they go for the run fake, the quarterback can at least scramble. No, let's not do that either. Let's roll the quarterback out so that he has options to throw to. He has a short option, a deep option, and they have to cover everybody. Cowboys are like, let's go with option D. Shotgun, straight drop back pass with 2 guys in a route where he's double covered. And
you don't force the Jaguars to use their final timeout.
What?
You do not force the Jaguars to use
I screamed it at the bar. And I screamed it at the bar. Run the effing football. And everybody in the bar just looked at me like, what? Calm down. They're going to. And then they dropped back and they were like, my buddy Keith just looks at me and goes, Dietz, you're so right. This is so dumb. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But thank God when I said that, I was like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I guess Jacoby Myers heard me and was like, yeah, hold my beer. I got this.
Hold my beer, yeah.
Because thank God, because I would have had to come out and say the Cowboys were the stupidest people ever. Nope. Jacoby Myers, you are the stupidest person ever.
Jacoby Myers topped that. One more game to look at. It's our bonus game. Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. The Redskins and the 49ers, 4:05 Saturday. Frisco getting 6.5 at home. And as Dietz broke it down a couple of 49ers games earlier, that means they automatically get 3 because they're at home, or 2. I think you said 2 because they're at home.
Usually Vegas will give you 2.5. Usually they'll give you 2.5 just for being at home.
Well, they're getting 6.5 here at Levi's Stadium. Chase Young is due to return, and he's also slated to start on Saturday. But the wild card is going to be the simplest thing that the 49ers do the best, and that's run the football. They're going to run the ball all over the place.
and they've got. I mean, Washington. What is Washington? Washington's defense without Chase. The big question is, will Chase Young play?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's played all year.
No.
Why would they do it now that they're essentially out of the playoffs? I mean, unless they really think they have a chance, then
they really think they have a chance.
Putting him in and getting him injured again for another year.
Yeah, because they already lost him. They already lost him for a year. He's coming back. He's been cleared to play. But here's the difference. Here's a different situation upon all year. But it's due to come back. He has been cleared to play as someone that is needed just for depth purposes alone. Javon Kinlaw.
Mm-hmm.
Javon Kinlaw has been cleared to play. I doubt that he will start on Saturday afternoon. But imagine Javon Kinlaw completing that 49er defense and how deep they are already up front.
Yeah. As anybody who's covered football has ever said, you can't have enough pass rushers.
No, you can't.
You always want a fresh one to go. All right, go on in and give somebody a breather. Oh, it's third down. It's third down. Let's put three pass rushers on the line.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens. Mm-hmm. Like you can't have enough pass. You can't have enough corners or pass rushers.
And you also get a chance to spell Nick Bosa on a couple of downs.
Yeah, but this game, as I said, this game is the 49ers should win this one easily, but it really doesn't make a difference. I mean, Washington, what's Washington? Washington has to win out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this will be the blow that kills the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
And they'll be done for the year. If they lose any game that they've got coming up, and even if they win out, they still might not make the playoffs because the other teams will, they don't hold their own destiny. So
no, and they're not winning this game Saturday, not in Santa Clara, not a chance. I mean, they played 2 years ago, but the 49ers were so beat up, the Redskins wound up winning that game. They're not going to win this one on Saturday. I do not see it. I got San Francisco walking away all day.
This is one of those games where the Redskins they don't have the team that can challenge the 49ers.
They don't.
Because team that's going to challenge the 49ers is a team that's going to run the football and has a quarterback that can get rid of it quick. Well, they don't have that. They don't have that.
They don't. The quickest release the 49ers saw all year was Tom Brady, and they decimated him. They brutalized him. The quickest release they've seen all year was Tom Brady, and they brutalized him. Now that should frighten the daylights out of you. They brutalized Tom Brady to the tune of 35-7. So Chris and I think the same way. What do you guys think in the chat that the 49ers make it 8 in a row with this upcoming win over the Washington Redskins on Saturday? What are your picks? Put them in the chat. We're going to go ahead and get out of here because I know Dietz has to take off. I got another one at 5 o'clock with Artie Source. We're going to talk some even more football. Dietz, I want you to come back next Friday. We'll break down both the playoff games and make our picks for the national championship. I'd love to have you back.
Absolutely. I'll be here.
All right. That's our show for this afternoon. We want to thank you guys for coming along with us for the ride, for this hour-long rapid-fire ride. We'll do it again next week. So long, everybody.
Thank you for tuning into The Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results.